Hey everybody, and welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Carrie Justick. Brandon Maxwell is known for his namesake luxury women's ready-to-wear label that he launched in New York back in 2015. But just a few years later, Maxwell is no amateur designer. Instead, he's hanging out with and dressing stars like Lady Gaga, Oprah, Michelle Obama, and even Meghan Markle. Now, he can also be seen on the latest season of Project Runway, where he's judging the fashion creations of up-and-coming designers. Let's check out a clip before bringing him on to the Build stage.
Everybody come gather around. We did not just bring you here for champagne and caviar. It's time for your next challenge. For this challenge, we want you to make a look that embraces elegance. Elegance is the new black, and let me tell you, no one does it better than this man.
Elegance is not always about a gown. It's not about a cocktail dress. It's not about a suit. It's about restraint. Vinny.
In the last challenge, I had some issues showing restraint.
What you do not know how to do is to restrain yourself.
Restraint.
Yeah.
That is the mantra for you.
If they say I need to pare it down a little bit, Vinny's gonna pare it down a little bit.
Everyone knows no elegant look is complete without the perfect handbag.
Now I don't know what is going on.
You guys all know it as the button bag.
Who's ready for the button bag?
But for this challenge, we're gonna have a little fun with it.
Yeah, I'm on that.
The button bag actually came from my spring 2019 runway, and it was filled with rosé.
You'll each get one of these bags as the jumping off point for your design. Your challenge is to make sure your bag and the contents inside complement your garment. When we call your name, you'll pick your bag and your model.
Everyone, please welcome Brandon Maxwell.
Hello.
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 Well, first of all, I have to do a little cheers. Brandon made this a little happy hour moment.
I mean,
which
why
I'm
not?
Which
5
I'm
o'clock.
not mad about. So cheers to Project Runway.
Cheers, guys. Welcome.
Let's get started by saying, I know you've been a fan of Project Runway since the start, and now it's season 17, and you somehow made your way on there.
I know.
How does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, I watched it from the very beginning. I'm from a really small town, so that was sort of my lifeline to understand how I could be in this world. So it's pretty bizarre to be on it. I definitely, when I got the call that they were interested in speaking to me, I thought for sure it was a mistake. But I'm so glad to be on it. It's just, I really can't tell you from, obviously filming the show was a great experience, but the people, all of us on the show were really like family. We've known each other for years. I went through a lot personally while I was filming it, and it was just such a joy to be there. I love it. I never want to leave.
Hopefully you won't.
I know.
What makes season 17 different from the rest? And obviously it's kind of like a reboot in the brand and what the show is. So going into it, I guess, like, what were your expectations of how you can bring something new to the show? And how do you think it turned out? How do you think it's different from before?
Well, I had not been on the previous seasons, obviously, so I can only speak to my personal experience, which that it was a very personal experience, both with the judges, Christian, and we had a very close relationship and still do, I think, with the contestants. Ultimately, it's really up to them after they leave the nest to go and become a star. And we want to make sure that they're well equipped to do that. And the first step to be able to help someone is to form a personal relationship. So I think that that's really how we approached it. And of course, there you're able to now buy the clothes directly online. I think that it really is in all areas the most diverse season that we've had, which was really important to all of us. And again, I think all of us are really in the industry right now. We're all working with each other already outside of the show, and we're really in the throes of what it takes to keep a business going. And so I think that's what, makes it different now. I don't know, but being there obviously was a very different I had never been on television before, ever.
I know. I was going to say, because I feel like I saw in another interview, you kind of joked about walking onto set in kind of like your model off-duty look, which I thought was really funny because people obviously know your name and obviously you pop up at the end of your shows and everything like that. But this is the first time that people are really getting to know who you are.
Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of time to think about what that would look like. And I'm not someone that overly thinks things very much. I just kind of went into it. But yeah, there's no evidence of me being on TV at all. I had no idea what it took to be on television, which for me, as the male on that group, you would think it's a little bit backwards. It actually takes me the longest amount of time
I love that.
to get ready, and a lot of people to get me ready, just to look like normal. Do you know what I mean? Like
You're like, I'm not going for amazing.
No. Just to look like regular, because I'm on a panel with like such incredible, powerful, strong, busy, important women. And it always really shocked me from day one how they will literally walk in the door in the morning just fully done up. I mean, Nina has 2 children. She's running an empire. Like Carly and Elaine are as well, and they're just fully done up. And I was being slightly serious when I was saying, like, I didn't know, having been on TV. So I just showed up in my pajamas every day. I just showed up and I thought, well, obviously they'll help me get it together. But what would happen is that every morning I would come in through the back and like the people that would work there would be like, can we help you? Is there some, or do you need to be here? And I'm like, I'm on the show. I work
need
here.
to be here? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a totally new experience.
And as we just saw in that clip, you also just got involved in kind of creating your own challenge, which I think is really, really cool, because in a lot of the episodes, we don't see you until you're on the judging panel. Yeah. I want to get your take on, obviously, your contribution in this challenge, but also through the challenges that we've seen so far. Are there some that, when you were a younger designer, are there some that you would have loved to do and some that you were like, okay, I totally would have failed at that?
Well, the one thing I always say, I've said this in many interviews, I don't think I could do what they're doing with such grace and poise in the way that they're doing it. When you're a designer, like Christian and I both are sort of, our shows are one day apart. It is really, really hard to go out there and put your work out there and to go to the store the next morning and see your name in the newspaper, and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not great. That can be very painful and very hard. There are joyous moments as well. But what I really admire about the contestants on the show is that they really have a sense of humor. They're really enjoying themselves. And truthfully, it is incredibly hard to make a dress in 2 days. Like, just if you have a full team to do it, it's hard to do it. So I think that really speaks to their level of talent. And, they really kind of roll with it and handle it. No, I mean, to answer your question, I've never left a challenge being like, gee, that would have been so fun. I always leave a challenge like needing a drink of wine, like sweating, being like, I can't believe they did that.
Thank God I did.
Yeah. I mean, they do it, and they do it so well. And of course, you have to deliver sometimes criticism, which I try to do in a jovial way with them, and I think they get it.
I was gonna say, I think you really, really do that well, and it comes across. And I can't help but to think it's probably because you've been in their shoes before. Obviously, not in the same exact setting, but as a designer who's been on the other side, it's probably an incredibly humbling experience.
Yes, and I want them to win so bad. I just think the industry really is in need of change, and I have so many friends who are working towards that change as well, that I'm proud to know other designers, and I think we need more of that. I think that it really is there on the show. I really believe that one of those people that comes out the winner will have a very successful career, because what they all sort of have in common outside of their talent is just sheer determination and hard work, and that's actually what it really takes outside of creativity and talent. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I accepted doing the show. I was a stylist for a decade, but I've only had my own fashion business for less than 4 years. So I'm really in the throes of it every day. And sometimes you're coming into that filming and that day dealing with your own issues at the company. And so they're really illuminated and made bigger when you're watching someone in front of you that you think, like, that's me. What they're going through right now is me. I'm going through that. And so I think sometimes when I'm having the conversations, I seem super impassioned because I am. Because I want them to win. I know what it's like. I would just want to take them out to have a burger and be like, it's going to be okay.
Well, speaking of your brand also and how it is still so young, a lot of people say that you had a quick rise, and that's due to you the way that you dress women, the women that you do dress, and how you have a really inclusive view on fashion. I think both you and Christian have that, which is so cool to see you guys working together on this show.
We think so too. Thanks. We love working together. Seriously, we love it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So what's it been like to have you two on the show, and what kind of impact do you think it has on these designers to see you and Christian as the two designers kind of having them follow your lead?
I mean, I think hopefully it has a positive impact on them. You know, it's great because I'm in touch with a lot of the contestants from the show, just wanting them to do so well. And I don't think that any of us on the show really had that wall between us. It's important because that doesn't actually exist in the industry. I can call any friend right now who's also a designer and ask them about their balance sheet or what's happening in their production, and helping each other is really the best way to have success. And when we all succeed, it's so much better than just one. So yeah, I mean, I think also you mentioned having a sort of fast rise to success or whatever that is, but the truth of the matter is that I think for both Christian and myself, it was really so many years of very hard work. I think now in social media age, everything looks a lot bigger and faster than it is. But, you know, I was for 10 years carrying luggage around and really doing, and I still am doing, still doing that. And kind of doing a lot of hard physical work. And that's what I love and believe is a life well led is hard work. So yeah, I hope that they see that example. And, you know, they really got to see us behind the social media image, behind the red carpet image. They see what we're really like. And I'm hopeful that they were left with a positive impression and will hopefully use us as an example, which would be the highest honor, you know, if they would look at us and say, I kind of want to follow that in a way, you know, because you can't stay here forever. You got to clear a path for somebody else.
Yeah. Which is so cool because, I mean, I'm no designer, but I would definitely want to follow your lead because your list of clients is like the most insane thing ever.
It's pretty fun.
And the women that you see in your dresses, it's incredible. Like I know Lady Gaga, you've had a very long and strong relationship with.
Yes.
Oprah, Michelle Obama, Meghan Markle. Is it so crazy to even hear that and see that?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It is. And there's really only one answer for that. It really is. You know, but it's interesting to me. I met Gaga when I first came back to New York when I was really young, and we've been best friends for a decade. And I think if you were to look at the three best friends that I've had since I'm 2 years old before that, they're all very much the same. Very loyal, hardworking women with a great sense of humor and a joy and passion for life, whose real ultimate goal is to make the world a better place and to use their time here to inspire other people and help them to feel their best, right? So I've been blessed beyond measure to have these women trickle into my life who are so the same as the women that I knew growing up, right? All the women that I've dressed, I've been so lucky that the through story for all of it is that they're women that are really trying to make an impact in life and help younger people of all ages just live a good life, right? So like that's what I'm proud of. That's what I wanted the brand to be, was strong, powerful clothing for strong, powerful women, you know? And I think that it's women who are high profile and it's women who are not high profile. It's women that just want the opportunity to get there. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's one of the things that I'm proudest of is that, you know, if I'm fortunate enough to have a daughter one day, which I think about a lot, I think the friends that I have and the women that we've dressed, I'm proud are great examples for her. So, yeah.
And just you talking about how these women have been at the core of your brand, that was something that you wanted before you were even dressing them?
Right. So kind of what I was saying is that like those types of women are the types of women that have been my best friends, are the women that run the company. I've always been drawn to a woman like my mother and my grandmother, you know, strong women who I think are decent and just at their core, you know, and just want to help other people. I've always been drawn to that. You know, you look at the list of people, if it's Meghan Markle, Obama, Gaga, you know, Michelle Obama. Sorry, I haven't dressed Obama. But that'd be great when the men's suits are coming. I would love that. Would be the dream, right? Oprah. You know, these are women who have made an impact that we can't even comprehend. I mean, think about every young woman who sees them in that space the day that they're wearing. They're wearing the dress. It's not about the dress. You know what I mean? It's about me getting to be a small part of a very impactful day. You know, and what else could you hope for? It's like, why you don't want to dress someone because they're famous. I'm not drawn to fame. I'm drawn to passion, and yeah, it's a huge blessing for me. And if nothing else happens in my life, I'll always have those photos to remember. You know.
What goes into making a dress for women like that? So when you know that you're making something for Michelle Obama, like, where do you even begin? Are you sitting there like, holy crap, I'm making a dress for Michelle Obama? Or do you kind of put that aside?
Well, I would say that I'm an equal opportunity creator. I try to put the same love into a dress that I would for Michelle Obama as I would for a young woman going to prom. Clothes for me are powerful. I think that it's a way to help you feel perhaps a way you didn't when you woke up. It's a tool to help you feel more powerful, to feel good about yourself. Nothing gives me a greater high than, especially when I was a stylist, when you help to zip a woman up and you just know that she feels good, right? And that she's going to have better day because of it, right? So I try to really infuse that into all the work that I'm doing. I don't think a ton as I'm making something about where it will eventually end up, because as designers, we make collections for 6 months that, our gorgeous friends and models come in and they bring it to life, right? So I can only worry about what I do. And then I pass the dress off and I leave it to the incredible women that surround my life to bring it to life, you know? I find if I start to think about it too much, it really trips me up. So I just kind of put my music on super loud and don't pay attention to where it's gonna go.
I love that. I guess you have to.
Yeah,
survive.
You do, or you would, be freaking out.
Yeah. So obviously you are inspiring the designers that are on the show, but in what ways do you think that you definitely are, but yeah, hopefully. But in what ways have they inspired you?
Yes, I can see everybody on my team being like, please drop that one.
Keep on going.
Well, the interesting thing about it, not to get like too emotional, but like I said, so many times you're coming into filming and either I'm running my own business in the trailer during hair and make, or I've just come from a fitting, and you're thinking, one thing I've really tried to do in my career is be very honest, especially in public spaces and in social media, about what it really kind of is. I'm super. I recognize the exciting times, but I also want young people that are following, and I don't mean young in age, I mean young people who are wanting to have this sort of life, be it like their years of experience where they haven't started the career yet, but they're thinking of it, to know that it's not all roses. A lot of it is smoke and mirrors. And so I come to the judging very emotionally already from whatever's happening during my day. And so many times I see, we have a lot of contestants on the show who are there just really searching for themselves. And you have these, in the next episode, we have a moment like this, but it's these moments where you see them, something clicks and they found a part of themselves that they didn't know existed before. And you're just so excited for them. You just feel like, this is it. This is what it's about. Sometimes you're in the studio for 18, 19 hours, 3 days in a row. You can't come up with the idea. God forbid it's a week before the collection. You don't know what you're doing, and then you push and push and push to a place that almost makes you crazy. And then you snap and it comes through. And so when I'm already having a tough day, or I've gone into the day with my own issues, watching that spark moment, them find themselves, is energizing for me. Is that a long answer? But that's the
No,
truth.
yeah. And do you have those moments often yourself? Like you were saying, it could happen a week before a collection. Is that something
Well,
like
that's like the devastating scenario that you don't want to happen. You're hoping 6 or 7 months before you have the idea, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the shows that have been deemed the most successful for me, I did not find that they weren't successes for me personally. I think that's the case for a lot of people, and nobody talks about it. And I think a lot of people also come to the collection saying like, well, I was inspired by my recent trip to Boca or whatever. And you're like, I just think it's not true.
I don't know if anybody's inspired by their trip to Boca.
I think some people are. I think it's just not true. You know, I think we're on this timeline to create, and you can't always have this big inspiring idea. And but yeah, I definitely have moments. I mean, thankfully now, as I'm older, I have more ideas than I do hard, devastating days. But when, you know, and this will happen to whoever wins the show, you know, if you are fortunate enough to have any success in the beginning, you have to be careful to not let that be crippling, right? Like you have to kind of let that go in one ear and out the other, because whatever goes up must come down, right? And you have to remember that like you're doing it because you love it so much, you just can't live without it, right? You have to be around women, you have to make clothes that make them feel good, you have to be around beautiful things. It's just you have to, right? And once you start leaning into like whatever the glory stuff of it is that's absolutely not real, that's when it gets very dangerous, right? So I would say that that's the times that I've had the hardest moments, is when I've been sitting there thinking, what does everybody else want from me? You know, when I ask myself what I really want, I usually don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Good evening. This is... Okay, sorry.
Group therapy.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
So you talk a lot about dressing women, obviously. I want to talk a little bit about dressing yourself.
Looks so oddly like my cousin. I will show you a
Really?
photo backstage. Yeah, like it's eerie. Okay, sorry.
I hope you like her.
Hi, Mandy. I love her.
Okay, good.
Okay.
But I want to talk about dressing yourself because I feel like you have a very uniform style.
That'll be a super short convo, but yeah, continue.
And I just think that's so interesting because I feel like a lot of designers, that's the case, but I feel like clothes are just in your head constantly and like designs and whatever. So what inspires your uniform?
Well, if I'm not wearing these pants and this shirt, I'm always wearing Nike shorts, a black Nike sweatshirt, and Nike shoes. Call me Nike.
I was gonna say sponsored by.
I've spent all my money on Nike. You know, it's a sort of twofold answer. One, I spent so many years. I was behind the scenes, which I'm much more comfortable in. And it wasn't really about what I was wearing. It was about practicality and making sure that I could do all the things physically to get the job done. So that's why I just love. And also, I'm not a very workout person, obviously. So I love to just go out there and make people think I am. More often than not, people are always going like, did you just come from yoga? And I'm like, yes, I did. But
How'd you know?
But this, you know, outfit every day is also because there's so many things for me to think about that I try to not have this be an extra thing that I think about. And that's just the honest truth. And I also just like try to dress for my body type.
Love that. And now you just let the people at Project Runway think about how to put you together when you get there.
So I had never had a stylist before, and then I had a stylist for the show, and I was a stylist, and that was a totally new experience for me, because I was like, wow, I'm the diva client. Like, you know what I mean?
Isn't that always how it works?
Yeah,
though?
it's
like
so
the
scary.
doctor's the worst patient.
Yes, totally.
There you are.
Yes, I'm the example.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna hand it over to audience
that
Q&A. Yeah, don't worry, we still have more for you. We'll start right here.
Hi. First of all, you really inspire me and so many others as just like a very transparent human being and also an inclusive designer, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So the industry, the fashion industry is not easy to navigate, obviously. You've been very transparent about that. So you've explained how you had to put all your work, money, and more into establishing yourself and your career. So is there a moment in your career that gave you the green light or like I can do this and be successful at it moment?
That's a great question. You look absolutely adorable. I love your dress and your bow. That's a very bright moment in the day. Did I have a moment that I felt like I can do it? You know, I think the truth of the matter is you don't know what you don't know until you know it or don't know it. What is the saying? Whatever. I'm obviously not a poet or a writer, but you don't know. I went into this so naively, and now I look back at that, and I'm so glad I did, because it actually can be scary. And I think I do say that a lot, just as a caution for people. But the truth of the matter is, it can also be incredibly beautiful. There are moments that I go home, I can cry thinking about it, but it's such a joy what we get to do, right? Like we get to be a part of the day where somebody gets to feel good about themselves, and you know, I have found so much weirdly my happiness in my failures, right? When I've I had such a fear of public failure as a child, I don't know why, but I found a lot of comfort in that as I've gotten older and I've started this business, because you know, we spend so much time now showing the world how perfect we are, but I think when you say you're not, everybody's going through the same thing. But I think if you're thinking about being in the business or somebody's thinking about being in the business, your experience will be unique to you. So there's no advice that I can give you that you can live by that's going to apply to your life. I would say if you have a passion for it, if you really have the drive and you're not going to ever give up when it gets incredibly bumpy, you should absolutely dive in. And your cute pink dress, you should do it. Are you thinking about doing it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you should definitely do it. It's going to be incredible. And if it gets hard, call me.
Okay, thank you so much.
In the pink dress is
Yeah,
like
call
the
me
most...
only in the pink dress.
Yeah, only do it in the pink dress.
Is that a helpful answer or no?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Thank
you're going to have a
you.
great time, honestly.
Thank
It's
you
going to be so fun.
much.
Hello. So
Does your bag say book me?
yes.
I love it. Hey,
Thank you.
are you a model?
Yes.
Okay, that's
why
a
the-
great
like, the
bag.
constant mood. I know. I found it in a thrift store, and I was like, I need that bag.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. So one thing that has always struck me about your designs is how instantly recognizable your aesthetic is. When you see a Brandon Maxwell piece, you can always tell it's Brandon Maxwell. How did you establish such a distinguished style to stand out from other designers?
Thank you. That's a really great question. I was just having this conversation today with my friend who's here in the car about this exact thing. I think right now there's such a sea of stuff. We're so inundated with content, and I think that really came from my years as a stylist, knowing that especially on the red carpet you have such a quick moment to grab the attention. And I think one, it is truly my aesthetic, which is more simplistic and sculptural, but and I think at the time that the collection came out, that was probably different than what was going on in the landscape at the time, which was able to highlight it a bit more. But also, I'm someone who, I'm not classically trained in making clothes, and I always think about it. I have a degree in making and taking photographs, and so I always think about things from visually first. Like, what's it going to look like? And also, can someone in America digest it, right? Like, can some young person who's thinking of recreating that look in school easily recreate it if they like it? You know, that's how I've always thought about work for some reason, is just, and also I have a pretty simplistic approach to making clothes, because I really do think that the woman should shine first and foremost. Like, I never want a woman to walk in the room and you'd be like, yes, the dress. It's like, she has to look great first and foremost, right? And then the dress can be an afterthought. So I don't know, and I just am driven and drawn towards things that are more simple, honestly, because I think that you don't have to complicate things. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It's more of like an outside-in approach.
Totally. I always think about where it's going to be, what color the carpet is going to be, what color the event's going to be, what the space is going to look like, and then I make the dress. So for me, it's like I try to do something that's pretty simplistic. I don't know. And also, like, it's not that deep. I don't have like that serious of an answer about it. It's just the dresses I like, truthfully. I wish I could be more like exciting about it.
Oh no, don't worry. You've gotten deep enough. So
Have I? The 3 sips of wine that took us there.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was so
I watch
awesome.
this show every day. Seriously, yeah, I'm obsessed with that.
Do you like watching yourself on it?
No. I watch
The old one?
the Build series.
Oh, the Build series.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Oh
I
my
wanted to
God,
be here.
woo!
Yeah, love it.
Oh my God, amazing. Well, I'm so
Thanks for
glad
having
you were
me.
able to get on the couch then.
Thank you so
Come
much.
join us anytime.
I'd love to come back.
And
Thank you.
everybody else, go check out season 17 of Project Runway. Thank you.
Thank you.